Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tear down one of the oldest, most notorious financial tricks in the book, the Ponzi scheme. It's this incredible illusion that promises a shortcut to wealth, but, well, it's actually just a ticking time bomb. So, how on earth does it manage to fool so many people, and why is it guaranteed, absolutely 100% guaranteed, to fail? Let's get into it.
It all kicks off with a promise. And not just any promise, but one that's so juicy, so unbelievable, it makes you forget to be skeptical. This right here was the exact bait used by the man himself, Charles Ponzi, way back in the 1920s. Think about it, a 50% profit in just over a month. I mean, it sounds completely insane, right? But for a lot of people, that little voice saying, "what if," was just too loud to ignore.
So what is a Ponzi scheme, really? When you strip it all down, it's shockingly simple. It's basically a magic trick. The scammer creates this illusion of a profitable business, but there's nothing actually there. No real investments, no brilliant stock picks. The money that pays the profits to the first investors is literally just the money taken from the next batch of investors. It's a shell game, just shuffling cash from one person to another.
And that whole illusion, that entire house of cards, is built on one single thing, that impossible promise. That's the foundation of the whole scam. It's what hooks people, because it taps directly into that dream we all have of finding an easy path to financial freedom.
What's really wild is seeing how the core trick has stayed exactly the same over the decades, even as the numbers got way bigger. Back in the 20s, Ponzi was talking about something obscure, international postal coupons. Fast forward to the 2000s, and you've got Bernie Madoff. He used his incredible reputation as a former chairman of NASDAQ to promise something that sounded so much more believable, super consistent, steady returns of 10 to 20% a year after year, no matter what the market was doing. The packaging changed, but the lie underneath was identical.
And the scale of Madoff's lie, wow, it's just mind-boggling. His scheme ran for something like 17 years, and he swindled people, charities, and even sophisticated banks out of billions of dollars. This wasn't just a small-time con, it was a massive global deception.
So, you have to ask, how do they do it? How does one person build something so fake that it can trick so many smart people for so long? Well, it turns out there's a pretty standard playbook, and we're about to walk through it, step by step.
To make this super clear, let's just invent our own scammer for a minute. We'll call him Bob. By watching Bob set up his scheme, we're going to see exactly how this engine of fraud gets built from the ground up.
Okay, here's Bob's three-step plan. First up, step 1, the hook. He makes that wild promise, "I can double your money in a month." Step 2, he takes the cash from his first few believers. But, and this is key, he doesn't invest it anywhere. He might just stick it in a bank account, or maybe buy a fancy watch to look the part. Then comes step 3, the most crucial part. He goes out and finds a new and bigger group of investors. And he uses their money to pay back the first group, plus their huge profit.
And this is the diabolical genius of it all. Because those first investors, they actually get paid. They're thrilled. They run around telling all their friends and family, "You won't believe it, Bob's a miracle worker. I got all my money back plus extra." They become his best salespeople, and they don't even know they're part of the scam. This creates this incredible social proof, this buzz, and suddenly everyone is scared of missing out.
But here's the thing about any machine that needs more and more fuel just to keep from sputtering out. It can't last. It just can't. In fact, the collapse is baked into the design from the very first day. It's not a risk, it's a certainty.
And that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, if the early people get their money and everyone's happy, what's the problem? Why does it have to end in disaster? Well, the answer is just simple, brutal math. The system doesn't create any new wealth. It just moves existing money around. And to keep paying the old investors, it always needs a bigger pool of new investors. The number of people required to keep it going grows exponentially. And sooner or later, you just run out of people in your city, your country. You'd eventually run out of people on the planet. So the whole thing comes crashing down in one of two ways. One, the scammer just hits a wall and can't find enough new money to make the next round of payments. Or two, something spooks the current investors, and they all rush for the exit at the same time, demanding their money back. And that second scenario, that's exactly what happened to Bernie Madoff. For years, everything looked fine on the surface. But when the 2008 financial crisis hit, his wealthy clients got nervous and wanted to withdraw billions of dollars. The only problem was, the billions weren't there. The money was long gone.
paid out to other investors years ago, or spent by Madoff. The music stopped, and the whole thing just vaporized.
All right, so we've seen how it's built, we've seen how it falls apart. Now for probably the most important part of all of this. How can you spot one of these things and protect yourself? What are the telltale signs to look for?
So let's talk red flags. First and foremost, if anyone promises you high returns with little or no risk, just walk away. In the real world of investing, that combination just doesn't exist. Second, if the strategy is super confusing or they use a lot of jargon and can't explain in simple terms how they make money, that's a bad sign. Also, be really wary if the main sales pitch is just, hey, look at all these other people who got rich. And honestly, the biggest one, just trust your gut. If a voice in the back of your head is screaming that it sounds way too good to be true, it almost definitely is.
So here's the main takeaway. The names change, the stories change, but this playbook for deception, it's timeless. The mechanics stay the same. Now that you know exactly how it works, the real question is, could you spot the next big one before it's too late?